Hey YouTube friends and Twitter friends, this video will be on the topic of sexual abuse. And the reason for this video is, really all these videos are me kind of trying to figure out why my marriage didn't work. Because we were a happy family for 6 years, and I never wanted to go through a divorce. Obviously nobody does, but I know it's really hard on my brother and I when we were kids, when my parents divorced, and I didn't want to ever do that to my kids, but now I'm doing that, it seems. And I didn't want to do the whole shared visitation thing ever with my children, but I don't know if that's inevitable, or I don't know if God can rescue the situation. Anyways, so my own sexual abuse stories, here's the full story for any interested. When I was 25, my mom told me that my dad told her that ever since I was a baby, like ever since I was born, that my dad would masturbate me when I would cry as a baby. I don't know if that means that he would stick his finger up my vagina or if he would rub my G-spot, which I guess it was just because he was so stupid and his logic was so off that he thought, well, I don't know how else to calm this baby down, so I'm going to rub her G-spot, because I guess that maybe that can bring pleasure even to a baby. I don't know. It's really weird. Anyways, so he did that. And then from the time I was, I don't know, probably able to stand until I was 6, he would have me take showers with him. And he would have me play with his penis, which I didn't remember until I was like in my 20s. Like, I didn't remember that. I guess, you know, your mind can block out memories. It wasn't like traumatic at all. It was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't really know what it was. If I could think of one emotion word about it, I guess it was weird. But it wasn't scary. Okay, so then when I was 6, and I was talking to my fiance about all this yesterday. He was saying that maybe my dad was drunk when this happened, which, yeah, I had never even considered that before. I just figured he was demon-possessed when he did this. But yeah, he could have been drunk. Me, my dad, and my brother were laying down, taking a nap, and he kept saying to me, oh, Cheryl, and he was pulling my underwear down. And I suppose there is some possibility that he was that drunk that he actually thought that I was my mom. But I thought he was just acting, and he was just pretending to be out of it so that, anyways, okay, so he kept pulling my underwear down. And he was wearing a robe, but he was naked underneath, and he had an erection, and then, anyways, he rolled over sideways so that his penis touched my vagina, but that's pretty much it. At that point, I jumped out of the bed, and then I told my mom when she came home from buying groceries what had happened. So, I guess the main feeling on that would be scary. And then the main feeling on what my mom told me about when I was a baby was disgust, gross. I have wanted to throw up regarding that knowledge ever since she told me, and she really didn't need to tell me because I was a baby, so it's not like I would have remembered it. So I do kind of have some anger. She told me that when I was 25, so for the last 10 years I've kind of had anger at her for telling me that because she shouldn't have. Okay, moving on. I was just thinking I wanted to share all the stories that I've heard about sexual abuse because, I don't know, maybe this can help someone out there. I have no idea. Or it's just me processing everything I've ever heard. My grandma was sexually abused by her dad. She was actually full-on raped by her dad when she was 18. She kind of knew her dad, like, she was mainly raised in an orphanage that he dumped her off in because he didn't feel like being a man and providing for her. But I think she would go visit him in the summers. So she did grow up kind of knowing her dad. But then when she was 18, he was at some hotel room. He was totally drunk. He called her and invited her to come over there, and he totally raped her. So it does seem like there's some kind of weird incest generational curse thing that was going on in my family on my mom's side. And then when my mom was about, I think she was like 7 or 8, she was in a car in a parking lot with her cousin that was about 12. And he raped her. And my grandma left her and her cousin in the car and went inside to buy groceries. And she said that her mom told her later on that all she saw was when my grandma came back to the car, my mom was smoothing her dress down. And then she took her to get inspected at the doctor, and it did show that she had been penetrated. So she was officially raped by her cousin. So I think my mom told me that when I was 28. And that did kind of help me to cut her a break on things for a while after that, because, that's why she had so much anger, because that happened to her. Anytime, obviously, someone's sexually abused, they're going to have a lot of anger. Even if they don't want to admit that they have it, it's there, and it's going to come out in some way. Either it will come out in self-destructive behaviors like drinking or smoking or taking medication, which I think is self-destructive. Or it will come out in lashing out at other people, which that's more what I did. My mom definitely did that. Anyways, all right, moving on. The next person I want to talk about is my ex-husband, because this really is the source of why he went crazy, I think, and why he became schizophrenic. Okay, when he was in kindergarten, he had this boy that he would line up with, and I guess this boy would reach behind him and touch his private areas. And I think he said this went on for like all of his kindergarten year. And I guess it's just because he grew up in Odessa, Texas, and for several years it was the highest crime rate city in the entire United States, which is currently where my two daughters are living, which is partly why I'm really mad that they're living there. I had them all set up in the safest city pretty much in the world, which is where I am now. But no, they're in Odessa, which is one of the highest crime rate cities. Okay, so when he was in kindergarten, this happened. This boy was touching him. Okay, I don't know why he didn't tell a teacher or why he didn't decide to stand next to somebody else in line, but, whatever. Kids are not as smart. So then also when he went to the doctor's one time, his mom left him alone with this doctor, and this doctor stuck his finger up his butt. And I remember asking him, like, well, are you sure it wasn't medical? And he's like, no, I could tell that the doctor was getting pleasure from doing that. That actually also happened to this other guy I was with, Roger. Same exact thing. The doctor did that to him, stuck his finger up his butt. Okay, that's one reason why I don't like doctors. I'm not saying they're all child molesters, but you don't want to leave your kid alone with them, that's for sure. Okay, then when he was about 17, he was in a bar going pee, and this old man came up and stuck his finger up his butt. I don't know how long it went on. I mean, I'm sure it was pretty brief because he was older at that point, so he probably, pulled away and was like, what the hell, man? What's wrong with you? Yeah, so that happened. So there were quite a few things that happened. And then when I met him, he said that he kept feeling like Satan was telling him he was gay, which I thought was kind of weird because Satan's never told me that I'm lesbian. I've never, ever even had the thought one time that I'm lesbian. So that always kind of concerned me throughout our marriage, honestly, because he had this guy friend that he was really, really close with, that he really, really idolized. This guy named Steven, who supposedly has healed 20 different people, or at least that's what he told me in a Facebook message, that he's healed all these people of these different things. And I'm like, okay, either he legitimately has the gift of healing, or he's a false prophet and he has demonic powers to heal people. I don't know. Or he's deluded and crazy. So I've never really known what to think about this guy friend, but I was always concerned, and I didn't want my ex-husband, obviously, to be in love with him, especially considering all his sexual abuse stories. I was always worried if he was gay. I mean, God willing, hopefully he's not, and he never will be. Okay, who else? Okay, my dad and my brother. My dad took a shower with my brother when he was 13 or 12. He might have been 12. And my brother told me on a road trip that we were on, and he said that the reason why, my dad's explanation was, he took a shower with him to train him how to take a shower, like how to take a shower faster. He was always really irritated if we were in showers too long, or if we weren't conservative with toilet paper, or if we didn't turn lights off. Like, he was always super conservative. I think mainly because, you know, he was just always worried about money, because he's too dang lazy to be a hard worker and hold down a job. He really was like in between jobs a lot because he couldn't get along with people, because he was just a horrible person. So that was my dad. Yeah, so anyways, I guess he took a shower with my brother, and he didn't tell me anything beyond that. I don't know what happened, but obviously that's kind of weird to take a shower with your almost adult son. 12 is almost adult, really. Okay, so that's weird. What else? I wanted to share about Roger's sexual abuse too. Roger, who I was with before my ex-husband, I was with him for 2 years. He was severely sexually abused in high school. And that's why I thought everybody on the planet had been sexually abused, but my current fiance never was at all, and I'm really, really grateful for that. So, okay, so my ex, Roger, he was in high school, his freshman, sophomore year. This went on for like 2 years. This group of guys would pin him up against the lockers, and a girl would stick her hand down his pants and touch his penis. And he would grimace or frown, you know, and make weird faces, because obviously he didn't like it. It's not like they were a couple or anything. And then there would be people around chanting, "Faggot, faggot," you know, because he didn't like it. So that obviously was seriously traumatizing. He had severe PTSD from that. And he met with the counselor about it finally, and the counselor said he had the worst case of PTSD that he had ever seen. And, I mean, he did seem pretty antsy, you know, when I was with him. It didn't help that he drank soda all day, but anyways, so he was really messed up by that. And he would, like, run home from school every day, and he was always trying to avoid these people. And one day his grandpa saw him running home from school and asked his dad, "Why is Roger running home from school?" So his dad asked him about it, and finally he told his dad what was happening. I don't know why people in these situations don't tell, but anyways, then his dad put him in a private school, and his life got significantly better after that. So those are... I guess there's one more sexual abuse story I know. My best friend was really raped the first time that she had sex. Her boyfriend was staying the night at her house, so they were sleeping in the same bed, so it's kind of... Anyway, she woke up and he was on her or in her, and she didn't consent to that. I don't know why she didn't wake up when he was pulling her pants down, but anyways, that's another story. And then I guess I have another story. I actually was raped one time. Not really, it wasn't violent, but when I was 28, after my first significant relationship guy died, I was doing online dating. I was swimming in a pool with this guy, and we were making out, and just out of the blue, he decided to put my swimsuit to the side, my bottom part, and just stuck his penis in. And I was like, wow. And then on top of that, he actually cummed inside me. And I didn't consent to that. I mean, he didn't ask me. This was in California. This is just how California guys are, I guess. And that's why I moved away 2 times. When I was 25, and then when I was 28, after this series of dating. Anyways, yeah, so I have been essentially raped too. After that, I took a morning after pill, or Plan B or whatever, which is supposed to kill any sperm inside of you. We didn't work out, needless to say. Yeah, so that about sums it up. That's all the sexual abuse stories I know. I don't know if that benefited you watching this in some way, but if you have your own sexual abuse story, I recommend you make a video, well, if you want to, or talk to someone close to you about your experience, because you're not going to heal from it until you talk about it. So it's really important that you talk about it with someone. And I was going to read some verses, but my video is already pretty long. Okay, I'll read some verses. I feel like God wants me to. Sexual abuse. You can search this on Open Bible. Psalm 9:9. The Lord is a stronghold for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. Yes. When we are weak, God is strong. And I guess that is maybe the main reason why God lets this stuff